How's it going, Leo community? Soul Tiger is here with a special story for this wonderful frequency. First off, let me start the video by saying thank you so much for your time, your energy, and your patience as I navigate this story between the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, and everything in between. Keep in mind that this is a safe and sacred space where we call in the angels, ancestors, spirit guides, as well as divine and universal energy to come on in and be the guides and protectors of all the positive messages that are going to come out today. Now, with that being said, I'm going to be up front, forward, and let y'all know this is not Love Tarot here. This channel is based around self-empowerment, and what that means to me is us building our stepping stones to get closer to our soul being, which helps align us with a higher power. So, Leo, you have not been forgotten. And even though you feel like your journey's lost, I want to say you're not lost. You're at where you need to be. As hard as it may seem, even though we're residing in a lot of what we feel like is failures, you are at where you need to be. So let's get started with the vibe. Phantoms of what once was, running from or running towards a past that isn't there anymore. Feeling like a fraud, not achieving much, like your journey has been a waste. Coping isn't working anymore. It just hurts now. Leo, you are not meant to keep reliving the guilt of yesterday or 10 years ago or even today. Nothing has been wasted as long as you learn something from it. To be a champ in life is not always about winning. It's about failure too. The champ is the one who gets back up after the fall, willing to try again, willing to change what they can to get to the goal. Right now, you are feeling down about your life, this journey that you've been taking, and everything that has been happening. Like, too much time has been wasted. Just know every day, Leo, that you are given is a gift that gives you the chance to be able to try again. And it's not always trying again for others, but trying again for yourself. No one is meant to spend their life journey in regret, Leo. Just know that. I know this energy is all about self-sacrifice, and sometimes we will self-sacrifice our happiness to punish ourselves because we've messed up. Please, Leo, keep in mind you don't have to self-sacrifice your now and your future because you made some mistakes. Mistakes are a part of the journey. No one is perfect. There's a lot going on. What I'm hearing, it's kind of like melancholy. That's the exact word I heard now. I have a Leo here who just feels like their whole journey hasn't had much success in it. Like everything that they worked from way in the past till now, it's just like what I'm hearing is meaningless because of the guilt, because of the failures that they feel like they shouldn't have failed on. And that's hard. That is hard, especially when we're holding ourselves up to such a high standard. When it comes to life variables happening, these variables are things that we can't control, people we can't control or keep in our lives, things that we can't control or keep in our lives, businesses, job opportunities that we can't control and keep in our lives for as long as we were expecting, as long as we were anticipating, as long as, we wanted it to be there. And sometimes when loss happens and it's not our choice, it can be very, very devastating. So let's go ahead and get started with this introduction and see what needs to come out for the Leo here. What is it that Leo needs with these positive messages this time around in the story? Divine and angels, what is it that needs to come out for the introduction? So I have a little bit of a different kind of tarot deck here, or not tarot, oracle card. It's called Something, Somewhere, Sometime, and Every Day. So it's a little bit different, so please be patient as I translate the cards. Silence sometimes more beautiful than any other melody. And this is every day. Sometimes we get sad when things aren't around, but sometimes when those things are chaotic, when those things, are working against the grain of life, it can be harder to keep them around. It can be harder to stay there, like we're forcing things. And when things are forced, nothing is really happy. Forcing yourself to keep going back and looking at your mistakes doesn't make you happy. Then I have every day again. When the door of dreams opens, I don't hesitate to start the journey. Right here, you're being faced with something that's been put to rest, I would say. And you're not getting a response. You're not seeing it. It's not in your immediate anymore. But what's hard is because you're stuck still looking for it in a sense, looking side to side to see if it's still there, you're having a hard time giving yourself permission to get up and to open another door in life, another opportunity. And it could be the opportunity for healing, for understanding this past situation, or even understanding not the people, the places, or the things, but understanding yourself and how you feel about this past situation. I will tell you for a fact from experience, I grew up with two parents that were both Leos. Leos have a hard time talking about their emotions. And I'm not trying to pick on these kitty kitties here, but I've mentioned this before. I was like 30 something years old when I was actually able to sit down and talk to one of my parents who was a Leo about how I felt for the first time. Now, given this Leo was very, very unevolved. The other parent of the Leo was semi-evolved, but not fully spiritually. And again, that was another Leo that was very hard to talk about when it comes to the emotions. Even when I would search for help when it came to emotional stuff, it was very, very hard for these Leos to be able to create that kind of support, that emotional support. So this is what leads me to that Leos have a hard time supporting themselves emotionally. And this may be part of this new journey of opening this door, is learning how to support yourself emotionally, learning how to listen to yourself. So I have something else, which is literally something comes in reverse. Happiness sometimes is just close at hand. I feel like always searching for it from others isn't the thing, because it always leaves you searching. Being in your immediate moment, recognizing the things that you do have around you, the things that you've built around you, how far you came in order to have these things around you. Sometimes we get so upset with life that we forget about the very little blessings we have. And if it wasn't for these very little blessings that we have, life would be a whole lot harder. I'm not gonna lie. Have you ever lived in your vehicle and not had your own toilet? Or say lived in your vehicle and not had your own sink? These little blessings, to even having a roof over your head, is something to start counting. It's something to start looking around you to see how much You really, really have. Even if it's when others, someplace, something, somewhere isn't there. You are still blessed. You still have what you need, and you still have support around you. All right. Ooh-wee. This one came out when I was doing the cleanse. I really like that this comes here. You're at odds ends with this, and this is let dreams take you away. And right now, because of the failures and stuff, you feel like you can't dream big again, like there isn't possibilities here. And the next card that we have, time doesn't need anything, time just goes on. Remember how we talked about the vibe, feeling like maybe you wasted too much time or too much time has passed on your journey? Time is just a number here. Time is what a lot of people like to say is an illusion because of the emotional attachments or maybe the perspectives that we have on time. Time is something that is given, but it's something that really can't be taken away from us unless we choose not to do things, choose not to go towards the things that are bothering us, healing from the things that are bothering us, exploring the things that are bothering us. When we don't do stuff like that, that's when we really, really, really look back 5 years in that kind of realm and that kind of energy, feeling like we wasted time. If you're feeling like you're wasting time, then what can you do to be immersed into the moment more, opposed to being in the regrets of the past? I wonder how another world's alike. I feel like with this one here, you're daydreaming. You're daydreaming about things of the past and choices now that you would have made if you would have known what it would be like now. So what I mean is we look back with our regrets and we say, oh, I should have, would have, could have, if I only knew what was going to happen. That's everybody. That is everybody, and that's a part of sometimes how we get stuck in the regrets, is saying, you know what, I would have did something different if I only would have known. And this is why I say that you're in the divine timing right here. You're supposed to be right here. Everything that's happened into the past up till now is meant. You didn't know back then because you weren't in this frame of mind that you are in now, looking at things differently. And you have to recognize that. That's where you have to give yourself some grace and seeing that, hey, if I would have known things would have turned out that way, again, I would have did it a little different, and appreciating that you can see what mistakes you were making, because that means that you are evolving. Don't punish yourself for evolving. Then I have every day again. There are lots of secrets hidden in the sky. There are just too many things, too many possibilities in a sense to sit here and say that it all would have worked out the one way if you would have went back and did something different. It's just, there's too many variables. You could have came at that exact same lesson 10 years later, 5 years later, a year later. It is all meant for your journey because you have a particular lessons that you have to learn. And your lessons aren't always the same as the lessons of the people around you. So for me, there are a lot of secrets hidden in the sky. And we have two people here looking. You know what? Our perspectives are not the same. And I feel like that's where a lot of the secrets come from, because each person can interpret things so differently. And I'm wondering if you feel like another is interpreting things and they're really upset, they're really mad. Maybe you think that they're holding a grudge against you. But remember, that's your imagination talking to you. And say worst case scenario, that's on them. That is on them, but it's up to them to be able to discover their secrets, to discover their journey, to discover why things were the way that they were, because this person's not perfect either. Remember, I'm hearing, Isaac Newton's law of cause and effect. There was reason why things were happening. There were reasons why you were reacting. There's reasons why everything moved the way it did back then. Don't forget that. So we have somewhere. Be with one. Understand one. Problems would be less. All is nothing. And nothing is all. Remember that. Remember that. The only time it really becomes something is when we're overly emotional about it. And that could be something good. That could be something sad. That could be something that makes us angry. That could be something that brings on grief. It could be a lot of different things. But understanding that everything is all of one. That means no matter how you try and slice your pie, it's all the same flavor. It's all meant. It's all just the way it's kind of been put out, been baked. It's your own personal recipe in a sense. But the whole thing is, you still have time. You still have time to enjoy this slice of life. Enjoy what you've built, even if you feel like somebody else isn't. Maybe somebody else you feel like you've upset or something. That's not on you. That's on them. One of the things that I tell my children, I grew up in a really, really big narcissistic home for a good part of my childhood, most of my childhood. And one thing about living in a narcissistic household is everything runs off of the narcissist and how the narcissist feels. And so sometimes when I get upset at home, what I had to do, because I kind of carried those same traits, not of the narcissism in a sense, but of the over analyzing small things. And sometimes blowing it out of proportion a little bit. I was a single mom, overly stressed, but I was able to recognize. So when I started to see that, when I started to see how me being upset and being hard, especially on my son, and I was able to read his energy off of it, that's when I realized that I was making a mistake. Even though it wasn't the exact same mistake that one of my parents made, I was still making it in the same way of how I was making my child feel. So what I had to start doing is I had to start teaching my son especially that I'm going to get upset. There's times that I'm gonna fly off the handle. There's times that I may push it over the top with how I react. But just know my reactions are on me. How I feel is on me. You don't govern how I feel. I govern how I feel. So don't feel like you have to run your life around how I feel. Again, because that's a personal thing. That's not a whole household problem. It's a personal problem. So I say that again because if you have somebody here who's upset, that's a personal problem for them. Just like if you're upset, again, that's a personal problem for you. Both of you have opportunity, if you choose to, on your own, do the healing. You don't heal for them. You heal for you. Alrighty. Oh man, it's a juicy one this morning with this story, eh? So let's go ahead and get started with the present here. All right, ancestors, and I'm hearing divine. Divine is really here and honing in and helping out with these positive messages. I really feel like we talked about this a few stories, or was it last story, where divine was asking you to reach out to a community, a support community. It could be a community, say even within a church or something like that. Just a community of support, because divine wanted you to go ahead and start meeting people, talking about your story, and being able to get the views of other people's stories who have been through similar situations, helping you recognize that you're not alone on this journey when it comes to these type of experiences, to help you heal. And it's sometimes being able to listen to other people who have similar experiences that will like turn on a light bulb for us, or that will help open a door for us to understanding that we are human. And nobody's perfect. No experience is perfect. No business is perfect. No family is perfect, and stuff like that. So again, let's go ahead and get started with the present. What is it, divine, that wants to come out for the present? We have the Three of Wands. I feel like that's depicting you saying that there's not much success here. Not much success that comes down from a younger age, or does it have to do with a younger person? And then I have this magician. This magician, definitely, I like it. I like it because the vibe that I was picking up when I was cleansing the cards is you definitely have to become the magician and upright. You don't feel like you have all the tools to do it, but you really have all the tools to get you out of this rut. And it could be at the expense of giving yourself a new emotional offer, a new emotional investment that isn't where you have been. It may be somewhere else where you haven't been. And I like the magician in this one, this story particular, because what I kept hearing when I seen this magician is it's time to alchemize something. And now I'm not fully fluent in alchemy. I kind of understand the gist of it. And the gist with alchemy is transmutation. Being able to transmute things from one thing to another. For example, way back in the day, they were trying to transmute lead into gold. Think about it. Lead, something that's really heavy, could weigh somebody down. It could be even toxic to people at times. To gold, something that can get you something else, something that you can use in different ways. So it could be something like this. We're going to transmute something that's been weighing you down into something else that you can use. And I feel like you're really, really just focused on this outlook that you have, this area that you're at, that you're really not feeling in life. And then I have this Five of Swords. Five of Swords talks about putting people down, letting them go. Something that you don't see as the star, wish fulfillment, successes, things working out. Something else. Yeah. Remember I was telling you you're having a hard outlook on things with the Judgment card in reverse. That's what this is confirming. So you're not seeing your success. You don't know how to put certain things down. You could be stuck seeing it from a younger emotional side. And the reason why I say that is through the generations, human behavior changes. And human behavior changes because of the different technology, the different influences, and stuff like that. So right here, when we have certain things that happen, when we stay stuck, especially with things that have happened in our past, we can stay stuck in a certain type of emotional state. And I feel like you're still stuck in a younger emotional state, a younger way of feeling about things. And that younger way of feeling about things is making it really hard to let certain things go. It's also making it hard to see your success. And it's one of the things that it brings on really hard judgment onto yourself, onto the things that you've felt. What else needs to come out? Wow. A lot of threes. A lot of this stuff keeps coming in threes. So let's read. Let's read what the 3 threes represent. 3, 3, 3. Keep faith. Seek guidance from your guides. I like that. I like that a lot. So definitely you've been running from your emotions. You don't know how to invest in the emotions. You don't know, again, how to see the fertility of things, in the sense how things have blossomed. The things that have blossomed in your life. I should put it that way, because that's what I'm seeing. You're so focused on the dark areas of your life that you're not seeing the other things that are blossoming, the other successes that you're having. And then we have the 9 of Wands. We don't know if we can make it. We don't know if we can make it out of this, in a sense. And we don't see the 10 of Coins here. 9 of Wands, talks about, for me, boundaries. This is definitely charismatic type of energy as well. You are steady going. So you're not somebody who isn't, say, rising up to the challenges to take care of your responsibilities. That has been really important to you. That is the one thing that you really focused on. But again, doing things with your emotions, that has something that you've been really distant with. And now we have this 10 of Pentacles here, 10 of Coins, that's hidden from you. So for some reason, because you have this, it's saying this unemotional side to things. It's not that it's unemotional, it's just you have yourself fenced off from it, I should say. Because remember how I was talking to you about the Leos, and how sometimes it's really hard for them to navigate their emotions and to express how they feel. That's what I'm getting. And because of that, you're really questioning the wealth of things, what you've accumulated. At times, again, not seeing that you've had success, in other areas of your life. What I'm hearing is forgiveness. And when I heard that, here comes the 4 of Coins. Or the 4 of Cups, I should say. 4 of Cups is generally looking for an opportunity to come in, or being open to an opportunity coming in. Right now, you're not open to any kind of offerings coming in. You're just kind of really solid in how you feel. And these offerings could be some kind of emotional understanding when it comes to things. You're kind of just closed off with it and saying, it is what it is. This is how it's worked out. But you're not happy about that. You're not happy about how it's worked out. And this isn't even a deep down thing. What I'm feeling is you wear this on you. And then I have a 7 of Swords. So wanting to get out of being entrapped, from losing everything. When it came to, could have been some brash behavior. Could have been, maybe you feel like you were being kind of dramatic about things now that you're looking back at it. Maybe this other person was really dramatic. Maybe this place, was quick to maybe make their exit, quick to throw judgment, quick to not give you a choice now. Because I feel like you didn't have a choice in something. It just kind of worked out this way, and here you are, so many years, so many days, so many months later, still sitting with it, reflecting on it, feeling the pain from it. This Queen of Wands is interesting though. Let me get a clarity card for this Queen of Wands. Can I get a clarity card for the Queen of Wands? What is the clarity? Oh, this came out too when I was cleansing. So we have the Knight of Cups in reverse. This Knight of Cups lands on, you know, what you feel like has been taken from you. It lands on that younger emotional view that you're having of things. Also, it's about how to let go of things and seeing the success. And what this Queen of Wands, this is about this Queen of Wands, is it's going to be somebody under 40, prone to jealousy and mood swings, unfaithful in love, not capable of commitment to one person, dishonest, lives in a fantasy world. In love, they will break your heart. They may cause you to develop long-term distrust, and it could be of a specific gender. So whoever this Queen of Wands is, this Queen of Wands is definitely coming off with the energy of not having a lot of love for you. A lot of love for what has happened in the past. What I also get is this Queen of Wands has their ideas of how things should happen. And your ideas of how things should happen have clash. Now, this Queen of Wands isn't just, say, a female gender. This can be any gender. But this is high feminine energy. So this is somebody who's, you don't feel like compassionate, can't be accepting of things, and can be quite merciless. This is somebody, when they lay down their law, that's it. It's their way or it's the highway. There's no bending this Queen of Wands. And this Queen of Wands is going to be really, really like a lot of drama. Could be a lot of what I'm hearing, overreacting type of energy. Ooh-wee. This is something that could be very, very in the distant past for you because of how far this is this way as well. Definitely could be the one who helped spark your distrust of people at one time. All right, so angels, angels, angels of protection, help guide us and protect us as we navigate the block here for the Leo frequency. I have my Sambucus deck here because this is a tight-lipped type of situation I'm feeling. And Leo, we gotta read between the lines here. We gotta see what's going on. So we have a Queen of Swords energy that falls out on this block. The Queen of Swords amazingly falls on the swords here, but also falls to this wish fulfillment. Whoever this Queen of Swords, you don't feel like they see you. And this is something, or they don't see you. Maybe this person's really taken themselves this place. Somehow there's some kind of relocation maybe. Whatever it is, this person, place, or thing is really not around. And you feel like this person is really blinded to you. Maybe this business is really blinded to you. You can have people that are there, places that are there you're showing up for, but they're not very supportive. It could be that thing as well. Whoever this is, they're a very strong-minded person. A strong-minded person. What else needs to come out? What else needs to come out? We need patience. That is one thing as well. Here comes the Three of Wands again. This time, a little bit confused position. Yeah, I have a feeling that this Queen of Swords isn't you. I don't think that the Queen of Wands isn't you, and I don't think the Queen of Wands is the Queen of Swords here either. That's what I'm picking up. This is another person. However, this Queen of Wands again treated you. Remember, you had that one outlook on the certain gender. You carried it into another relationship with somebody else. I can't remember who's older. It is the Queen of Wands is actually older than the Queen of Swords. I believe the Queen of Cups is the younger one out of everyone. But I know that the Queen of Swords or the Queen of Wands is the oldest, I want to say, in the tarot deck, because I remember seeing her gray hair. So it went from an older situation and it affected a younger situation in your life. And it really, you had just this one kind of outlook on things when it came to how you feel like certain energies are always just going to make you lose out on things. Maybe have you overspend on stuff. Maybe it's that you always felt like they would always be too much kind of energy. Six of Wands. In reverse, Wheel of Fortune. Not feeling popular at this moment, I'll tell you that. You definitely don't feel popular. Kind of feel left out of everything. And then we have this Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune can be good, just depending on how you're looking at it. The Wheel of Fortune, a lot of people sometimes don't realize that it talks about change here. Or actually, I lied. That's the world that talks about change. Hold on. Let me put the brakes on real quick. The Wheel of Fortune's Jupiter energy. I had my two planets mixed up. Jupiter energy talks about optimism, our side of manifestation here. And for some reason, we're having a hard time being able to see things working out differently with whatever this other situation is. We're kind of feeling like the fortune has already been at where it's at, and us feeling like we're left out is our fortune here. This is just the end of the road. This is what we get, because we have this one, the Wheel of Fortune, as the number 10. So next would actually be 11, would be balance, would be justice. So you have to go to the next stage. Right here, you're just feeling like this is it. So we need to get you to 11 next. All right, so constantly looking back. Looking back on the work that has happened. Maybe everything that has changed. The movement from then. How we invested in certain things. How we invested. Again, only seeing this one view of the Queen of Wands again in reverse. This person, whoever this person, place, or thing was, they hurt you a lot. Whatever this originally stems from, when it comes to how you're judging a specific gender, a specific type of place, it really hurts you a lot. It's something that you're not over yet. It's something that you definitely reach back into. It's something that could be racing around when it comes to you looking back at the success of things and how you were investing in stuff. You know, maybe you could be looking back wondering if the moves you made with whoever this was it the right moves? Was it too fast? You know, maybe I left too fast and invested in a different direction somewhere. Because what ended up happening is you didn't end up sticking with whatever this energy was. You ended up investing and going in another direction and working in a different way. But no matter how much time has passed, you're still looking back at what had happened here originally and the pain of it. What I just heard is the song lyrics, somebody that I used to know. Oh, what else needs to come out for the block here? All Actually, no, not that one. This one. Okay. Somebody that you used to know. Somebody that you used to know may have had a lot of conflict with. A place you used to have a lot of conflict with. Again, it was at a younger time with the Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords in reverse. Really, really, really stuck. Four of Swords to clarify that stuckness. You wouldn't say this out loud. You would not say this out loud, but there was something that happened to you after you left this other situation. This was something that could have caused illness. It definitely could have caused depression. But whatever happened with this Queen of Wands, this Knight of Swords, back then it wasn't a good matching. This Queen of Wands was over dominant. For some reason, I don't know if you were looking to this Queen of Wands to be more mature, to bring in some type of energy that maybe you were missing at one point in your life. But you and this queen were not a good match. You were not of the maturity, that's what I get, of this Queen of Wands. But this Queen of Wands in reverse wasn't of maturity as well. So just know that y'all were on two different immature levels. It feels like whatever the situation is with the person, place, or thing. Yes, businesses can be immature. So, but what I get is just, you know, every time you turned your back, there was conflict. There was conflict. And finally, maybe when you got out of the conflict, you got stuck. You got sick. Somehow there was some kind of illness. It could have been depression or something that you were going through after this. It hurt. It hurt a lot, and it still affects you to this day and how you make decisions when it comes based off of certain places or certain genders. That's what I'm getting with this. That's okay. It happens. It happens. But we're learning about it now. Leo, remember, true champs get up after failures. Maybe we're spilling this out so that you can get up. You can give yourself permission to get up. Oh, wow. I like the way this falls out. So one thing you're having a hard time is trusting yourself when it comes to how you invested, which way you went on things. Providing yourself the truth when it came to the very foundations that you were in. When it came to this other person, place, or thing. That's what I'm getting there. You're too busy wanting to look back at this queen and wanting to self-sacrifice yourself. You know, maybe I did this, maybe I did that, maybe I shouldn't have done this, maybe I shouldn't have done that. You know, maybe if I didn't do this, this person, place, or thing wouldn't have reacted or done that. That's not on you. That's not on you. They're their own person. It's its own place. That's not on you. They have choices. Everybody has choices. I'll give you an example. I ran into something once upon a time with work, and I had to stand up for myself, and I had to switch some things around. And what was weird is the company agreed, but in a sense, they kind of messed my hours up. And I felt like that was like a form of not being the nicest. And that's just my personal opinion. Because they could have did something different instead of doing what they did. And so I sat here and I dealt with it. I tried to understand it. I tried to accept it. But when it came down to it, I had to sit down and I had to ask, is this taking care of me? And because it's not taking care of me, then I had to make choices to do something else, to go get another job. The whole thing is, you have to ask yourself, with the choices you were making back then, the mistakes that you were making, both of these situations were making, were you, because remember we talked about the Isaac Newton's law of cause and effect. Whatever was happening, would it have happened if there wasn't that other person tangling with you? Because I feel like there's a lot of trying to match energies here, with especially these two looking at each other like that. It was definitely an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth kind of thing. If you do this, well then I'm going to do this to hurt you too. And see, that's kind of like what I was feeling like was happening at this place that I'm working, or that I was working at. And it was just like, you can only deal with things like that for so long. And you will have situations, you will have people who will try and play you out like that. If you make a mistake, well then I'm going to go out and make that same mistake too. Or the business, or you're going to do this, you're going to be late because you know you couldn't help it. Well, now I'm going to make you stay extra time because you know I can't be understanding. And you see how a repetitive cycle of that would start to cause I cannot talk. Excuse me. But a repetitive cycle of that will start to cause bad blood, bad vibes between these two situations. And I think that's what it started to turn into. Y'all just started matching each other. It became more conflict than anything. And y'all got so stuck, people were getting sick somehow. Getting sick, getting depressed, stuff like that. So again, you had to invest in a totally different direction, and you had to get the hell out of Dodge kind of thing. And you had to start to work on stuff, investing in your own kind of security and stuff like that. But again, because the Page of Swords is here, you still haven't came to terms with whatever this situation was. Whew. It's a lot. It's a lot. Mistakes happen. Mistakes do happen. I mean, do not feel alone, Leo. And I think this is why even in the last story, it was like you need to get a support system, because you're going to find that this is kind of common. I mean, one of the things that I personally hold off from wanting to get in a relationship with somebody who's been divorced is because I've met a lot of divorcees, and especially of the male gender, if they were really hurt, they always say, well, I'm never going to get married again. I'm not going to do this again. And you see how that will show, or you see how that shows how a divorcee will start to shut down to any type of energies that will remind them of the past situation. That's kind of like what happened here. You started to shut down to these other energies that could remind you to this past situation. Now, remember, this is of somebody in particular, but there's another situation here, another queen, another person, another place that you brought that into a certain time of your present after this initial incident. And you kind of had yourself blocked off to this person. And now you're looking back as, hey, I kind of regret doing whatever happened here with this person, place, or thing because of what happened in the past. We're being human. We are being human. You need to congratulate yourself, Leo, for actually recognizing and becoming conscious of this, because a lot of people don't become conscious of this. They stay in that cycle of just how they feel and feeling like they're not allowed to move forward. They're not allowed to be happy type of thing, that they have to sacrifice their happiness of the now and the future because of their mistakes of the past. So just know that you don't have to make that sacrifice. Congratulate yourself for opening your eyes to this. Don't be too hard on yourself because you didn't know in the past what you know now. And if you would have known in the past what you know now, you would have did things differently. Just know that. Give yourself some grace because you have evolved and you can see where you could have made other choices. But don't punish yourself for seeing other things now, okay? Whew. We finally made it to the conclusion. Thank you so much for hanging out and being patient as we navigate all this. This is really interesting. Leo, it's okay. It is definitely okay to be human and to make human mistakes. Don't forget that. No parent, no husband, no wife, no employee, no employer is perfect. But that doesn't give anybody excuse to be shitty. You know, it gives us an opportunity to learn from our mistakes and to grow. So something we're not seeing, and this was at the bottom of the deck, is this is definitely a journey for you. This is a journey into reconstructing the plans that have happened in the past, the strategies that you've used, the strategies that now have left your heart broken when you look back at things. We don't have to envy others and the decisions others make. Just know that nobody's perfect, and whatever somebody's trying to portray to you as they have it all together, that's a damn lie. Don't let them lie to you. And we have the 6th chakra here, Metatron. Metatron's very interesting archangel because this archangel, I believe, is one of 2 who were human at one time and were able to ascend to the angelic realm. Archangel Metatron is also the record keeper. This is something here that, you know, you can look back on the records about, but give yourself some grace when you're looking back and understanding that you have the opportunity to ascend from where you're at into getting into a higher version of yourself too. It's not too late. And what we have here is the 5th chakra, Archangel Gabriel. I like that because Gabriel is all about divine communication. And this is what's happening this time around with the new moon, full moon cycles. The new moon was in Gemini with the full moon being in Sagittarius. Gemini talks about our heavenly connection and our earthly connection. So for me, our heart and then our higher energy, which is the soul being, which is connected to the divine. And sometimes when we separate these connections, it leaves us open to things, and it could be things that we are interpreting that we're being hard on ourselves, that we're not protecting ourselves from, things that we are overly blaming ourselves on. And when you do that, you are unprotected from yourself in a sense, because then you're going in and basically taking so much out on yourself. You're like injuring yourself spiritually. And right here, this is all about aligning your communications, that higher up energy of, you know, putting that trust in the divine and in the purpose that, you know, you've walked your journey as you were meant to walk your journey, even up until now. And, you know, communicating that with you, having some grace with yourself, understanding that the alignments are happening in divine timing. But as this is happening, open up to exploring, searching for the meaning in all of this. This hurts. Why does it hurt? What does it mean to you? And how can you move from there with the love and light and compassion and grace for yourself? Because you've been blaming yourself since way back in the day. And maybe it's this unhealed version that you have of yourself since way back when. This is why it's still trickling into the now. So it's time to take this journey. It's time to have this type of divine communication, opening up to the divine communication, opening up to seeing what the truth is and being your healer for that. If you want a more in-depth interpretation when it comes to the new moon in Gemini, full moon in Sagittarius, definitely go check out my new moon, full moon interpretation this time around. That's interesting how this all lined up for you, Leo. This is very interesting. I'm hearing a few more cards. What are the last few cards for the conclusion? Ooh, we have that one. So when it comes to those foundations of the past, what was happening in the past, you know, and being open to the truth about it, how it was that matching eye for eye type of energy, but it was a younger energy back then. You didn't know what you know now. It's just understand what you did, how you moved after that. Was you still trying to keep going? Was you still trying to find the possibilities that you were looking for that you've made now? Now, again, because things have worked out a certain way and there's a certain regret, remember, you're not seeing all the wealth that you still have around you, all the little things that really add up. And I think really understanding that you allowing yourself to close the door to one situation and open the door to another situation wasn't the mistake. That was not the mistake. It was something that you still had to do. What is the last card? What is the last card for the Leo frequency? Ooh, last few cards. So don't worry about these others and their perfect lives and whatever. You know, that's something that keeps your gate closed to your bountiful, your bounty, what you've grown. Don't be confused about it. Nobody's life is perfect. Staying confused about it keeps you from the templed path. And that means being aligned in the divine. When you stay confused on things, questioning things, feeling like things didn't work out because it had something to do with you, always blaming yourself, then how can you tune into the frequency of love, light, and compassion when all you're doing is tuning into the frequency of self-hate? We got to turn that off. We have to turn that off in order to start healing. And that's where the goddess of the moon comes in. That feminine energy of compassion, acceptance, kindness, and mercy for yourself, for being human, and opening the door to the age of healer of the ages. Allowing yourself, giving yourself permission to understand that you don't have to self-sacrifice your present and your future happiness because of what's happened in the past, Leo. And the last one, second chakra, Archangel Ariel, friend of nature, friend of animals. Nothing is perfect, but it's perfect the way it is. And you see that with nature. Look at the background here. The tree doesn't grow to be perfect. The bushes don't grow to be perfect. They grow to reach their full potential. Animals don't grow to be perfect. Your dog isn't worried about if they're coming in looking perfect. It's still gonna smell the poop, whatever, you know. It's still gonna do what it's doing because it's okay with being a dog. A plant's gonna grow how it's gonna grow because it's okay with being a plant. How can we still grow? How can we still be us and be okay with being us? That's what I'm getting at. Ooh, really, I was not expecting all of this. You have a lot on your plate. But again, the biggest message is you don't have to sacrifice your happiness in the present nor of your future because of past mistakes. It's okay to be human. It's okay to make mistakes. A part of being a champ is knowing how to get back up after we've fallen. Give yourself permission to get back up. Give yourself permission. Again, I'm going to refer back to the last story and finding a support system, a support group, and talking to others about this. Others who could give you some insight and show you that you're not the only one who goes through this. Others who could provide some kind of token of information that might help you see things from a different view. Remember, and this is what the divine is telling me. Remember how dark energies can work through people to get at you. We'll keep this in mind. The divine can work through people to get messages to you. This is why it's important that you go and you get this community, this support system. It could be with a therapist, it could be with a psychologist, it could be with a counselor, it could be in some kind of church community. It could even be in a community of your family that you're close with, that you trust and stuff like that. More evolved type of family, I would say. But yeah, this is gonna conclude it, Leos. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, and your patience. And don't forget to thank your angels, ancestors, and spirit guides, as well as divine and universal energy for coming on in and helping out with all the positive messages. And I hope that you have a most wonderful rest of your day.